All right, now we should be live on the studio as well. Good morning, everyone. It is Mikael Heikinheim and Roope Metsä in the booth right now, and this is Highlander Havoc event in Tampere, Finland. We are on round 1. Good morning, Roope. How are you today?
I'm fine. Little bit tired from yesterday still, but it is nice to be here.
Yep.
For sure.
Pretty much the same for me with the tiredness. Yeah, it was a long night celebrating the victory of Joonas Eloranta, who took the Finnish national champion title of Legacy yesterday in our Finnish Legacy Nationals 2024. And it definitely was a long day. We have 7 rounds of Swiss and the top 8, which was in total of like 14 hours sitting here in the booth.
And it is not going to be any shorter today.
Yep. Or, well, it might be. It's only 5 rounds of Swiss today, so
Oh, I see. Then it is.
a lot easier. But about today, so we are playing European Highlander today, which is also known as German Highlander before. And yeah, there are a total of 70-ish players today. Few no-shows there have been, and this is the round 1 where we have Sauli Tarvainen on the left-hand side playing what I was quickly checking next to him. It is a kind of a Bant lands deck, would I say so. And as we see, there are already Thespian States and Dark Depths combo deployed on the battlefield.
Yes, and Joonas is also playing some sort of a lads deck with gamble on the stack right now, so not many spells to be cast in this match probably.
Yep. And I was checking also Joonas, and as I was just saying that he is playing at least Omnat, which is now binned due to gamble, and I would assume it is a 4-color lands variant deck.
Sauli untapping with the Thespian stage and the Dark Depths in play. We'll see if.
And since I already saw Omnat in Joonas' hand before, I can only imagine that there is something else he has searched with the gamble. So
Yeah.
perhaps a answer to Marit Lade's Treth coming in a few moments.
Yes, that definitely does make sense. And if Joonas can survive the Marit Rage, the One Ring will probably be take the game over at that point.
Yeah, even though Sauli seems to be ahead on cards at the moment, but that will change in a moment if the game continues. And so we don't have the deck lists today, so we are only assuming the decks about what we are seeing, so we don't know much more than you guys there on the other side.
Yeah. There is Uro and Endurance in Sauli's hand. But probably can't cast either of them if he wants to play get the Marit Rage in play. Although Sauli probably should also understand that the Omnath is not the card Joonas did tutor for, because it really doesn't make much sense to grab the Omnath in that spot.
Yeah, he should be aware that there might be some answers in there. But yeah, he chooses not to go for it just yet. That's Titania, Protector of Argoth.
Yes. Which does bring a fetch land back to play, and
yeah, huge pressure from Sauli, so he don't have to rely on Dark Depths combo. He can just go wide on this point.
Yes, and fetch land being played with, I believe, a Weezing coming down on the battlefield. A 5/3 elemental.
Yep. So this is one of the crossovers we have seen in the recent sets. Now we have Pokemon included on the
Yeah,
on the battlefield.
universes beyond.
Yep.
Sauli gets a fetch land or a survey land. Wants to survey a little bit before passing the turn. Obviously not dealing any damage with the One Ring protection, even if he were to attack there. And so when have you played Highlander last? You used to be a big fan of the format, right?
I did. Actually, Ylämaa 2022 was my last bigger tournament I played, and it happened to go so bad for me that I basically quit Magic after that tournament.
I see.
But yeah, I still like Highlander as a format. There is a good amount of variance in it, and you still get to play the coolest, most powerful cards ever printed. So it is still fun, even though I don't actively play it myself anymore.
That is for sure.
Mhm.
I have not played that much Highlander myself, as well, there isn't that many competitive tournaments of it,
Mhm.
but
Yep.
it's a fun format.
Yeah, and fun fact for the viewers, Legacy Nationals that we were playing yesterday, it has been like the biggest annual tournament in Finland for like what would I say, 5 years. But this year, the Ylämaa, so the main Highlander event of the year, was actually a bit bigger of an event in terms of players. There was something like almost 100 players in there, and yesterday we had 80-ish.
Yeah, I believe 79,
Yeah,
or no, it was probably the full 80, if I had
yeah,
to
it
guess.
was capped in 80 players at
Yeah,
some point. So
a lot of players anyways.
yeah, but yeah, interesting fact that the European Highlander, as we call it nowadays, is actually one of the biggest formats in Finland, and it has really like taken over the scene here.
Yes, and Sauli responding with the endurance evoke to the life from the realm. And now Joonas is in a whole lot of trouble really, with the 15 power staring at his face right now.
Yep.
But Oko coming down on the board, making a food token with it before passing off the turn. I wonder,
Not too effective of a play from Joonas, so things are actually looking quite good for Sauli.
yes, wonder which card Joonas tutored for actually, because neither the low nor the Oko really answers the Marit Rage. But
And yeah, that drops Joonas to 2, so basically yeah, he needs a mass removal next turn, and then he has to deal with the incoming Marit Lage. And Sauli does not need to apply any more pressure, he can just sit back and
yeah, looks to cast Lauren really, really.
Foreign Reveal is a decent play here.
Yes, it's kind of a wonky limited card in the sense that
Yeah.
it's a 5 mana for 3 cards, but boy, does it feel good to have your land draw 3 cards sometimes.
Yep, flexibility is the key there in that card, and basically in all Highlander, since you are playing 100 copies of single cards, there must be some kind of a consistency built by playing either versatile cards or many same kind of effects. If you are, for example, some kind of a combo deck, tutors are powerful stuff, even though the gamble hasn't done much in this case, but yeah, fast bonds, some lands getting binned.
Drawing 2 more cards with the One Ring.
Yep.
Obviously Life from the Loam. Coming back from the graveyard with the dredge mechanic. And
Yep, and that seems the game. Joonas has seen enough for this game, so Sauli will take the first game and move ahead with 1-0.
for the viewers that are not familiar with the European Highlander, it is best of 3, but there is no sideboarding in the format.
Good morning. So here we are in the booth with Roope Metsä.
Hello everyone.
And there was a question in chat about when we will have another legacy tourney. So this weekend we had the Finnish Legacy Nationals already, and the Sunday event for today is that this Highlander Havoc. But we actually are having another same kind of a weekend on March 2021, when there is a bigger tourney in Helsinki Kattilahalli. We will have another big Highlander event there on Saturday and Legacy event on Sunday. So those will probably be the next 2 bigger events.
Yeah, and will we be seeing you there?
On the booth, yeah.
Yeah, not making your comeback just yet.
Yeah. Alright, so it seems that my battery from the microphone has gone off, that's the reason.
I see.
It's not sounding well. We will fix it at some point.
Yes,
When
and
we head to the second game, I will then fix it.
I wonder if the game is probably gonna start soon.
Yeah, since players are not going to sideboard, they are just continuing shuffling
Yeah.
and starting the second game. Let's head back and see.
Obviously with the 100 cards it does take a while to shuffle the decks, and it is not always easy to shuffle the whole deck at a time. Especially when you add double sleeves on top of that.
Yeah. So I will go find some new batteries, so you are
Yeah.
on your own for a moment, Rob.
I will survive for now. Hopefully we get our technical difficulties solved soon enough. Sauli looking at not Ramonap Excavator and not much else I can recognize. Drawing a Hayward Might, which is a clean answer to One Ring, but obviously with both players playing mostly just lands, it's not good. It might not be relevant for quite a while. Playing Exploration on turn 1, which is probably one of the stronger plays that the lands deck can play, and Joonas just gonna probably fetch a survey land. Take a look at the top card and maybe find something good. And here we have Meticulous Archive, a blue-white survey land. And then a whole lot of shuffling after. So it does seem to have Zeranorp in hand as well, which is a combo with Titania. And also there are some loops with Ramunap Excavator and Fastbond where you get to generate infinite mana by sacking the lands and playing them again, and obviously generating infinite life in the process. And that looks to be a prismatic ending from Joonas's side, which is a clean answer to the exploration, so not gonna be that much behind. Kind of transition into the draw from the play with being behind on land drops after the exploration hit the board. So Sauli fetching up another survey land. Yes, it is a Meticulous Archive for both players in play right now. Not happy with the top card surveying, putting it into the bin. So draw for the turn was Temple Garden, which is was looking for a land and probably gonna tap out for the excavator, yes. And a fetch land from Joonas. These fetch lands sure take a while in this format. So you have to look for just the right card from 100 cards. Literally 100 of options. And another survey land hits the battlefield. Surely have taken the format over when you don't have to draw them that often in the Highlander format. Just you get a lot of power for the draw. Joonas happy with the survey, not putting it to the bin, and so neither player really putting too much pressure.
Mikael is also back here now. We will play with one microphone for a moment and probably get the second one fixed for the second round. I'm sure we will be fine this way as well.
Yes. Does tutor up Boiruka Bog, and while passing of the turn, Joonas back ahead on the lands count. Surely is relevant in this matchup. And as Sylvan's crying, wonder what they're gonna get.
Yeah, both players actively searching for their best lands to work with.
Surely there's a lot of powerful options like Urza's Saga and Wasteland. Goes with the Wasteland, which is obviously very good combo with the Ramunap Excavator.
Yep. Sauli seems to be trying to lock Joonas out of lands in a long term, but we'll see how that goes. And even he wouldn't succeed to do that many times, it's still a good answer to some troublesome threat coming in.
And Ramona excavator swings for 2. It's a 8-turn clock now. Fast but furious.
Yeah, and white gets cut from Joonas now, so the pressure on lands is on already.
Yes, and with the excavator being able to play the wasteland every turn, the pressure is not gonna be any lower anytime soon.
Oh, that's not a good land to play against. Wasteland, even though it denies some attacks, it's not a mana producing land, which Joonas is actually needing right now. Alright, there is... Well, I spoke too early.
Yes, abundant growth giving mana abilities to the Maze of It, which is certainly a sweet combo.
Yeah, and now the Ramunap Excavator gets dealt, so no threat of recurring wastelands for now.
Yes, and we'll see how Sauli answers. Field of the Dead being the draw for the turn. This is a very nice land with lots of utility, but obviously not being really that relevant for a couple of more turns. And with the Havarmat in hand, Sauli could exile the abundant growth to cut the mana, which might be what he's up to.
Yeah, it's basically a land destruction here, so wouldn't be too bad of a play. But he chooses not to pull the trigger.
Yes, obviously there are more powerful options like Fast Bond and One Ring, which Havarmat also deals it, so not seeing the 1 mana as too much value, I guess. And consider being played for now by Joonas. Wins 4th Erlingas, a powerful expel that makes a whole lot of tokens and then gets the Monarch mechanic. And fetch land being played and used by Joonas. And there it is. Interesting. And Sauli's hand being Mana Drain, Suran Orb, and 3rd card, which I don't quite recognize.
Yeah, and I was also seeing that Joonas had at least Sevin's Reclamation in hand, if I was correct, so... But is there any relevant targets on the bin at the moment?
Well, you can always return lands with the Sevin's Reclamation, which is pretty relevant in the lands deck.
Yeah, and that's definitely a better play, which we have also saw in the earlier game. That's the One Ring.
Yes, the One Ring obviously not being that effective against the Havarmat. Sauli.
But it is exile, so
Yes.
it still works.
Havarmat being used quite early. Sometimes what happens with the One Ring and exile interaction is that neither player wants to commit the move, because if you respond to the One Ring activation with the Havarmat, then the One Ring doesn't draw a card, as it doesn't get the counter on it. And well, this time Sauli wanted to use their mana on the end step, so Joonas could just draw in response, getting that 1 card. And I believe that's Endurance being drawn for Sauli's side, which does get rid of the graveyard that is quite big, but I don't believe there to be any payoffs right now.
Yeah, and he's not in rush of playing it, at least yet, so... Let's see if he can snug that Sevin's Reclamation out when played. Because of course Endurance will deal pretty cleanly with it.
Yes. And with Seven's Reclamation there
we go.
yeah, just an interesting decision. You can let it resolve and then you can use the Endurance to shuffle so there's no flashback being used, or you can prevent it now and just allow the Seven's Reclamation to go on the graveyard as the lone card. Obviously you get the counter that way, or effectively a counter spell, but looks to go that way of not wanting to deal with the flashback side, obviously being stronger since it does make a 2 copies of the spell.
Yeah, that's definitely a decision to play a longer game, so he denies the more value option of the card.
And I believe it's a noble hierarch, or is it? Probably not. I would not imagine that the lands deck plays that. And Endurance being swung.
Oh, there seems to be, it is Noble Hierarch, and then there's at least Zuran Orb in Sauli's hand.
Yes, I believe the hand also has Carpet of Flowers, or probably, guess they won't play the Carpet, so it's not that one. Don't recognize the card, unfortunately. But obviously, Endurance and Maze not doing much against the Maze of it. I guess it denies effectively 1 mana by forcing the issue by attacking. And another fetch land being cracked by Joonas. Surveil. Surveillant being fetched and now resolved. It is a very tight one. Noble Hierarch actually not being the worst draw here, since it does give access to blue mana for the mana drain, but the last card being Eladamri's Call in Sauli's hand. Let's see what he gets with it.
Yeah, and as we said earlier, all kind of tutors are the most effective thing in here, so
Yeah.
not the worst draw he could have. That is the Mycospawn from yesterday, if I'm correct, right?
Yes, it's showing Mycospawn, which does get a land with the enters the battlefield effect. Obviously also having access to colorless mana for the kicker that does exile a land. For example, the Mace of it that is preventing Sauli from dealing any damage.
Yeah, that's definitely the one he wants to go with this board, because you are pretty low on resources in hand, and you just want to deal some damage, but that changes a thing pretty drastically. Primeval Titan, and now Joonas get to search for at least Field of the Dead, I would assume, but what else?
Well, Urza's Saga and Wasteland are for sure powerful options, but with the Mycospawn being able to exile a land, you might want to be careful with what lands you get. Also, Dark Depths and Thespian Stage or something you can get. Looks to go for Wasteland, and is that the Vesuva that I'm seeing here?
I must be honest with you, I can't now get it what it is. If the chat is more clever than us, you can enlighten us about that. And that is a play and a half from Sauli.
Yes, obviously Fractured Identity doing its work, and well, Joonas's prime time is now Sauli's prime time. it is Sauli's turn to get some powerful lands with the trigger. Now Joonas is quite in some trouble, having to deal with the Primeval Titan now.
Yeah, and that's devastating for Joonas, because even though he doesn't know it, it came straight from the top of the deck for Sauli, and it worked perfectly on that point.
Yes, always the opponents getting the best possible draws. Have certainly felt that myself sometimes. But
Yeah, something that every Magic player has experienced at some point.
but let's see what Sauli opts to go for. At least Urza's Saga is there being searched and Celestial Colonnade.
Yeah, and now he gets the Field of the Dead pretty much online, because he goes up to 6 land, and then every land gets to produce some more threats on the battlefield.
Yes, I believe that is the case. Actually, not going for the Urza Saga, just going for Hedgemaze and Celestial Colonnade. Somewhat tamer options, so to speak. Obviously, there is a lot of options, and lots of them are also powerful.
Yeah, and of course he need to consider that Joonas also has Wasteland on his side of the battlefield, so neither of players want to keep too good of a targets for them, even though Sauli already has Field of the Dead on the field, so that might be the priority target for Joonas anyway.
Yeah, and Micah Spawn. Oh, that's an Entomb. Wonder what the Entomb is gonna get.
There really is a possibility to turn the corner totally around. Now when Sauli is tapped out, Joonas may actually find some ways to at least not lose, but even turn the corner and go for the some kind of a winning situation, but it seems to be just Loam.
Yes, obviously not that many graveyard synergies in the Joonas's deck, but with the Loam being in the deck, the Entomb becomes effectively a demonic tutor for that card, which is certainly one of the more powerful ones in the land deck.
Yeah, Demonic Tutor surely being one of the better cards in any deck of the on this format. Alright, there are Sagas, and now once again I can't recall that artifact that just was banned. Did you get what it is?
I did miss that one, but surely I don't think it matters that much for now. But it is interesting that Joonas did get the life from the Loam back, as there is a bunch of permanents that need dealing with, for example the Primeval Titan. But with the Mace of It, you can certainly survive the beats for now, especially with the Wasteland killing the colorless mana, so the Micah Spawn cannot be kicked to exile the Mace of It.
But even though negating one of your opponent's attacks, you are already at 7 life, which means that playing the Myco Spawn next turn, Sauli will have lethal in a couple of turns, so Joonas will need to do something more than just returning his lands from the graveyard.
Yeah, and there is Urza's Saga and Wasteland being turned. Wasteland probably being an answer for the Colonnade, but choosing to play the Windswept Heath instead. Probably has some kind of a banger spell still in hand.
He needs to have it, he wants to survive from this position. And yeah, as soon as Sauli gets to untaps, he still has mana drain in his hand, so that will protect the future combats and battlefield and stuff. Well, there is Swords to Plowshares, which is a step 1 to survive.
Yeah, now the situation doesn't look that bad for Joonas. There's only with the Maze of It in play, only one creature gets through if the Cognate is being animated, and that is the whole turn. And with the Wasteland being able to deal with the Cognate next turn, I'm not sure that the attack for 3 is enough here. But with the mana drain is very good card in this spot, and Michael Spawn obviously getting the whatever lands Sauli wants. It is still a pretty bad spot for Joonas. 6 mana being tapped. I believe there's a game rule violation. Being the I don't think you can cast Micah Spawn for the kicker cost, since there is no colorless mana.
Yeah, so we'll probably issue and judge call and make sure that players are not. And yeah, and I guess they have noticed it themselves as well.
Yeah. Obviously, lucky timing as judge just walked by the studio, so we could call the judge over there. And let's see what is happening here. Basically an easy mistake to make, especially if you are used to playing, for example, the Eldrazi deck where you always have the kicker cost. Does get a Bojuka Bog to exile the Loam, which is a nice option.
Alright, so now we are back with 2 microphones, so the audio quality will increase drastically.
Yes. Sorry for the inconvenience, but even our equipment does run with batteries. So with the Bojuka Bog exiling the home.
So in the end, Michael Spawn was played without kicker, I assume?
Yeah, the 2 lands are still tapped, but I don't think, well, no land was being exiled, so with the 2 floating mana Coiling Oracle being the play,
yeah,
then revealing a Brainstorm, obviously not having the mana to cast it right now. It is a risky play in the sense to tap out with the mana drain in hand, but
Sauli has no fear of anything at the moment.
yes, and with the Endurance attacking.
Alright, and now I think we get to see what this Mystery Land does.
Yes. Not sure what it... Oh, I believe it's the Urza's Cave that for 4 mana you can tap it and get any land on the battlefield from the deck.
Yeah, and so now when there are no threat of Myco spawn anymore, Joonas decides to go for the Field of the Dead, which now starts to produce tokens, and it seems he just goes for a jump for now, but it will get more.
Yeah, and the Zeran Orb being played on the battlefield, because maybe the 25 life is not enough for Sauli.
Mhm.
Getting some more access to life gain.
Yeah,
And
and people not familiar with the combos, so with Zuran Orb you just need Fast Bond and, for example, Crucible of Worlds to go so-called infinite. So Zuran Orb is in a role of a combo piece here, but of course now not doing that much.
but with the army of zombies coming up for Joonas, the board will start looking more even soon enough. Brainstorm being cast. Sure, what?
And Jonas is actually thinking about this, so he might have something to say about it.
3 mana being tapped, and it is a force of negation.
Yeah. So is this a worth of mana drain? It may be.
Well, looks to be. Actually, interesting interaction is when you draw the brainstorm, you might actually have wanted to cast that in the draw step, so you get the mana drain mana for the first main phase, but
Yeah, true.
spell snare countering the mana drain.
So there actually was a little war of counters over that brainstorm, which
Yeah.
only underlines its powerful being.
Yes, and well, another reason being obviously the fact that the land stick does not have that many relevant targets for stuff like spell snare and force of negation.
Yeah, true. And now Sauli goes so-called all in and puts all the pressure on the field and seems to be willing to close this game pretty quickly.
Yeah, with only one landing coming down, with there is a token and the maze of it, but Sauli's board starts to look wider and wider.
Yeah, there are already 3 lethal threats on the battlefield. Well, Jonas will get another extra blocker, so he will jump block himself to be alive after next turn, but still they are only jump blocks and he will lose the zombies in the process.
Yes, and there is 1 damage gonna go through as well from the Coiling Oracle.
Yep. And when you fetch that Bloodstained Mire, you'll drop to 2 life. After Coiling Oracle, you are basically at 1 life, which is not much to work with. And I believe that Urza's Saga is also the only card in his hand,
Yes.
so not great.
So Coiling Oracle.
Yeah, send it. There we go.
So a fetch land, and well, you gotta block on the things you can block.
Yep.
Which is the 2
And maze what you can maze.
Yeah, so that 3/3 power creature's not gonna go through this time. And so Volcanic Island probably ran out of fetchable surveillance.
Yeah, there has been no, there's Hedge Maze on Sauli's side, but Oh yeah, there is hedgement on Joonas' side as well. Oh, and there is a removal, so that will end the game once and for all for Sauli. So 2-0.
Yes, an impressive feat by Sauli for sure. And we are probably gonna go on a short break.
Yeah, we will ask if we get to have some words from Sauli here in the booth, but just to remind you, there are 60-minute round time on Highlander, so there might be still some games going on, but we will see if we can get an interview from Sauli, and if not, we will be back on round 2.
Yeah.
Don't go anywhere, see you soon. All right, welcome back. I have now joined by Sauli Tarvainen, who won round 1 match against Joonas Heinonen, and you were playing Bant lands. Let's jump straight into your deck. How did you end up playing that, and how did it felt?
Well, I started out first playing blue-white control, but I started to feel like I need some punch because everybody is playing these cards that, but if you remove it, it still leaves something on the table. You can't just answer it with one removal spell. For example, initiative.
Yeah.
Stuff.
It's hard to play control against all the 2-1s in the format.
Mm-hmm.
So you opted to change another angle of attack.
True. So Field of the Dead and Dark Deaths are the primary win conditions in there.
Yeah, and it seemed to be almost a mirror. Joonas was playing one more color in there, but how was the second game? We were already speaking that it was a long match, and we will not focus on the first because those things have already been forgotten. But how was the second game? It went like, or it seemed to go like up and down for both of the players. First there was a Primal Titan on one side, then there was Titan on another side, and of course both players were trying to optimize their lands all the time and getting the most value out of them. How did it went from your point of view?
Yeah, I started out with this. I tried to do this Wasteland lock thing in the beginning with Ramonap Excavator, which didn't work out. He got removal for that.
Yeah, it was the Toxic Deluge that was played.
Yes. And then it started to feel like when he resolved that Primeval Titan, I was like, this game is probably now over. But then I got the most amazing top deck, which was
Fractured Identity. Yeah, that was sick.
My own Primeval Titan.
Yeah. Perhaps the best single card on that spot. It was incredible.
Yeah, definitely. And I was wondering before the tournament, should I put this in the deck? And now I'm very happy that I did.
It has earned its place there.
Definitely.
Nice. And in the end, it was kind of smooth sailing, even though Joonas got some defenses in the form of Maze of It and Field of the Dead tokens. They were just too small of a defenses, and you just went over in the long term.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he could have probably kept going for a short while, but then there was this removal spell.
Yeah.
That
March of the Otherworldly ended it pretty quickly on there. But yeah, you are now sailing 1-0 in this tournament, heading to the round 2. How are you? Well, of course, feeling good. But what are your expectations for today? Just having fun, or? Yeah,
I'm primarily here just to have fun. I'm not sure if my deck is like top tier stuff that I could. I'm happy if I won maybe 1 or 2 more matches. I'm not really. I don't think that the deck is that great.
All right, yeah. At least it was enjoyable to watch, and I could imagine it is and it was enjoyable to play. So if you just can keep going with that, it's a goal achieved.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. This was Sauli Tarvainen who won his first round, and we will soon be heading to the round number 2. Good luck for the rest of the tournament.
Thank you.
And we will see you soon.